Oh, there we go.
We're live. If you talk, you can mute it.
Oh, here we go. Caitlin Hummer batting for Green Bay. And the pitch looked like a ball from here. Want to know the count. 1 out. The pitch. Ball 2. We got runners on second base for Green Bay. The pitch. Ground ball to second base. And she's safe. Or, my bad, she's out.
Yeah, sometimes you do have to guess.
Right.
Sometimes you do have to guess because it's tough.
Allie Taylor now up for Green Bay. Runner on third for Green Bay. The pitch. The pitch. Ground ball to second base. And she's thrown out at first. The score remains 0 at the end of the top of the first. Batting for Youngstown State in the bottom of the first, Sarah Dowd, the right fielder. And the pitch. And a swing and a miss for strike one. And the windup and the pitch. High for ball one. Count 1-1. The pitch. Fouled back, straight back for strike two. Dowd signals for a bunt and swung on for strike three. One out here in the bottom of the first inning. Now batting for Youngstown State, the left fielder, Brittany Moffett. And the pitch for ball one, or strike one. The pitch. Thrown in there for ball one. Counts 1-1 now with one out in the bottom of the first inning. The pitch. High fly ball to center field. And she's caught it for out number two in the bottom of the first inning. Miranda Catatiglione is now batting for Youngstown State. Thrown in there for strike one. Two outs here in the bottom of the first inning. Nobody on base. The windup and the pitch. She bunted down the first baseline, and she's safe at first. She caught the runner sleeping there. That was perfectly executed. Center fielder Alexandria Gibson now up to bat for Youngstown State. Runners on first, two outs. Bottom of the first inning. And the pitch. She looked like she was going to take off running there. But that was thrown in there for strike one. The windup and the pitch. When she takes off, ground ball past the shortstop, and she's safe at third, and we have a runner at first base as well. So runner at the corners, two outs here in the bottom of the first inning for Youngstown State. Callie Mikovic stepping in for Youngstown State. Runners at the corners once again. Two outs here in the bottom of the first inning. Let's see if she can bring in a run here for Youngstown State. The pitch. Thrown in there for strike one. Count is 1-1 now. The windup and the pitch. Thrown in there for strike two. 1-2 now the count. 2 outs with runners at the corners. And the pitch. High and outside for ball 2. 2-2's the count. And the pitch. She fouls it behind the backstop here. Foul ball. And the pitch. Line down the left field line for a diving grab from Green Bay. Left fielder. Wow, what a play that was. Runners were left stranded at the corners for the bottom of the first. Score is still 0.
Really? Hey.
Miranda Spanberg now batting for Green Bay. The count is now 1-1. And the pitch. Ground ball to third base and thrown out at first base for out number 1 here in the top of the second. Abby Brinkmeyer now in for Green Bay. And the pitch. Fouled to the third base side for strike 1. Counts 1-1 now, with 1 out here in the top of the second. And the pitch. Strike number 2. Thrown in there for strike 2. Count is now 1-2. With no runners on base. And the pitch. Change up for ball 2. There was a nice change of speed there. And the pitch. Foul down the third base line. Count remains 2-2 here in the top of the second. With 1 out, no runners on base.
That's a good question. 3-3. I mean, it'll probably start at like 3.
And the pitch. Foul ball. right on home plate. Count remains 2-2 with one out here in the top of the second. And the pitch. Foul ball once again, straight back to the backstop.
A lot of people, contrary to what a lot of people think, we really don't have much to do with Dolan and his grading policy.
Timeout here as the umpire gets a couple more softballs here for the girls.
That's a question for him. He's Dolan Jr.
And the pitch. Ground ball to second base and thrown out at first base for out number 2 here in the top of the second. Now batting for Green Bay, Alyssa Johnson, the right fielder. And the pitch. Ooh. Strike number 1 for Johnson. And the pitch. High fly ball to right field. And she hit a home run. That's over the fence for a home run. A solo home run by Alyssa Johnson here in this top of the second inning. Wow, that was a solid hit there. Now batting for Green Bay, Ashley Baker, the catcher. And the pitch. Ground ball up the middle, and it gets through for a single. Now batting for Green Bay, the second baseman, Kelly Hutchinson. 2 outs here in the top of the second with a runner on first base. And the pitch. And it's in there for ball 1. Counts 1-0 now. Ground ball to second base, and she's thrown out at first for the end of the top of the second. The score is 1-0 now as Green Bay leads Youngstown State. We now head to the bottom of the second inning.
Screamo Bam J.
We are back in the bottom of the second inning here with Youngstown State at bat. And stepping in for Youngstown State, number 24, Kayla Haslett, as she fouls back the first pitch for strike one. And the pitch for ball number one. The count is now 1-1 here for Kayla Haslett. And the pitch high for ball number two. 2-1's the count. And the pitch. Oh.
That's why I wouldn't be surprised if they kept the tattoos, because it's like.
She fouled that down the first base line, or the third base line. Looked like it was fair, but apparently it wasn't. Solid ground ball, but it was stopped real nice by the third baseman for Green Bay, Miranda Spanberg. And the pitch. Ball three, full count here for Kayla Haslett of Youngstown State. Haslett singles a bunt, pulls back, and she's walked. So now we have a runner on first base for Youngstown State with Maria Lacatena stepping in to bat for Youngstown State. She is the catcher. She singles a bunt. The pitch. And the catcher throws it down the first baseline, and Haslett is safe at first. And the pitch. And she bunts down the first baseline for the out at first base. But she advances the runner to second base, which now we have a runner in scoring position. So let's see if Youngstown State can get a run in this inning to tie the ball game. Center fielder Hannah Lucas is now up to bat for Youngstown State here in the bottom of the second inning. And the pitch. In there for strike one with one out here. Youngstown State's in a good position to score a run here. And the pitch. And Lucas fouls it down the third base line for strike number two. 0-2 is the count with one out here in the bottom of the second inning. And the pitch. And Lucas fouls it to the third base side once again. Count remains 0-2. And the pitch. Fouled straight back to the backstop once again. Count remains 0-2. With a runner on second base. The pitch. Change up there, and third base was stolen by Kayla Haslett. As Lucas struck out, Haslett stole third base. So now we have a runner on third and the pitch. And it's in there for ball number 1. Let's see if YSU could drive in a run here to tie the ball game.
This is good for Morgan and Robbie. I just searched it. It kind of looks like
And the pitch.
Harley thing.
In there for strike 1. It counts 1-1 now with a runner on third base.
Anyway, what was I gonna say? Oh yeah, Batman doesn't even do anything.
And the pitch.
He gets beat up.
Grounder to second base, and she's thrown out for first to end the inning. The bottom of the second inning is now over with a runner stranded on third base. The score remains Green Bay 1, Youngstown State 0 as we head to the top of the third. The leadoff batter for Green Bay, Haley Moorfeld, is up now for Green Bay. She is the shortstop.
It takes so long.
She has an average of 402. Wow, that's pretty impressive. And the pitch to start the top of the third is now in there for strike 1. Ball 1, sorry. Ball number 1 for Moorfeld. And the pitch in there for ball 1. Count is now 1-1 now it's 2-0 now for Haley Moorfeld. And the pitch in there for ball number 3. And the pitch in there for strike 1. Count is now 3-1 for Haley Moorfeld. Haslett delivers. Strike number 2. Full count now for Haley Moorfeld of Green Bay. And the pitch. Grounder to second base and thrown to first, but she is safe. The throw is not in time. So Haley Moorfeld has an infield single here in the top of the third to start off the top of the third. Batting now for Green Bay is Haley Fry. She's the DH.
Don't they base everything off of the comments?
And the pitch. Fouled to third base side as Moorfeld took off to steal second.
I don't know. I hope Batman wins. Yeah, I can see that. But how do you know for sure?
Haslett delivers. Strike number 2 for Haley Fry of Green Bay. The count is now 0-2 here in the top of the third. No outs. And the pitch. Grounded to third base and thrown to first for an out. For the first out in the top of the third inning as Haley Fry advances Haley Moorfeld to second base for now a runner in scoring position with only one out here in the top of the third. Caitlin Hummer now is in for Green Bay now with a slow changeup for strike one to get ahead in the count 0-1.
It's really unsettling how, I know it's the same people, but it's unsettling how much injustice plays.
The pitch. She squares up for a bunt for strike two.
I just said that as a disclaimer. I'm just saying they don't have to.
0-2 is now the count with one out here in the top of the third.
Because Mortal Kombat's way more.
Runner on second for Green Bay.
I don't have either, but I've played them both, so it's like.
Thrown in there for ball number one. 1-2 now is the count.
I mean, there is, okay, the fatalities in Mortal Kombat are so, you know the new one, X. I know,
And the pitch. A slow dribbler to the pitcher. And she doesn't have the throw now. So we have runners on the corners for Green Bay here with only one out here in the top of the third. As
I'm just used to it. I've played Mortal Kombat for years.
as Allie Taylor for Green Bay steps up to bat for Green Bay. She has a good chance here to drive in some runs for her team. All she has to do is hit a gapper.
And I played Smash for years, so I don't know if that helps me. It's a way different fighting game, but still. Ready, one,
And she grounds it past the second baseman to drive in a run for Green Bay. So Allie Taylor now with an RBI for today, with runners on first and second for Green Bay, as Miranda Spanberg now steps in for Green Bay.
stuff, you would never, you really have to like sit.
Only one out here in the top of the third.
Yeah, that's why it's funny.
And the slow pitch, the changeup, is now in there for ball number one to start off this at bat.
Yeah, I mean, kids can play. Yeah, you're right, but I feel like just the idea of it, like, oh, it's Mario, Sonic. Like,
And the pitch.
fighting with hammers.
And it's thrown in there for ball number two. 2-0 the count. Runners on first and second.
Oh, yeah, that one. Okay, the PlayStation All-Star fighting game. Yeah. Just because it's not competitive.
And the pitch. Thrown in there for strike number one. 2-1 is the now. 2-1 is the count now for Miranda Spanberg.
I never played it. Yeah, you can't really. Oh, I love the
Haslett delivers.
so unique and like.
High fly ball to right field, and it's over the fence for a home run. Spanberg drives in 3 runs here for her team in the top of the third. So that's the second home run today by the Green Bay team.
Yeah. Three.
And it was even over the same field, right field.
Yeah, you can do that in training mode. You can just set the percent to 999 and then like a fireball.
So that clears the bases now for Green Bay as Abby Brinkmeyer steps in for Green Bay.
You can go above the screen, left screen.
Youngstown State trails by 5 here in the top of the third. And the pitch. Thrown in there for strike number one. 0-1 the count. And still one out here in the top of the third.
Back in the day, like this achievement. Yeah, like because N64.
Haslett delivers.
Talking about that concept. It's
Ball
like,
number 1, 1-1
like, you know,
to Abby Brinkmeyer of Green Bay.
yeah, I love it.
And the pitch. Fouled down the third baseline for strike number 2. 1-2 is the count now. Brinkmeyer has an astonishing .342 batting average this season so far.
Ready, three. Dude, that's the best to play with friends and stuff. Or like, and then have like a tournament or something. No, not even.
Haslett delivers. Low for ball number 3. Full count now for Abby Brinkmeyer.
No, it hasn't. I mean, I thought four. That's what I was gonna say too.
And the pitch.
Yeah.
Thrown in there for a ball. Now the count is full. Full count now for Abby Brinkmeyer.
Cards at 8, so. Dude, it's awesome. It just came out with
And Haslett strikes out Abby Brinkmeyer for the second out of the top of the third.
12 more. Or no. Yeah, it was only $12, and there's 16 more tracks and like 4 more characters.
Stepping in now for Green Bay is right fielder Alyssa Johnson. As Haslett delivers the first pitch. Change up high for ball number 1.
There's 2 now. One just came out big blue. That one's I like that one better. It's one of those single app ones. Yeah, what do you want to? It's like the
Alyssa Johnson lines out to the second baseman to end the top of the first. Youngstown State trails by 5. The score is 5-0 Youngstown or Green Bay. As we head to the bottom of the third inning.
You never heard that? My maid.
We are back now in the bottom of the third inning
Well, that's all.
for the YSU girls softball game as left fielder Sarah Dowd, the leadoff hitter, steps in for Youngstown State. Dowd has a .320 average this season so far. And the pitch. Change up in there for ball number 1.
It's cool how they use the, like on the new track,
One knows the count.
checkpoints, not laps, like I said, because it's one linear thing. But they have a voiceover, it's like, fly whole lap. Like in the old F-Series.
High fly ball to the third base side, and it's over the left field fence for a solo home run by Sarah Dowd. Well done by Dowd as she brings in the first run for the ball game for the Youngstown State Penguins. Youngstown State still trails by 4 in the bottom of the third. Stepping in now for Youngstown State is the second baseman, Brittany Moffett. Moffett has a .331 average so far this season. And the pitch. And she lines it down past the shortstop for a single here to start the bottom of the third.
Yeah, it's weird. You never realize how like shitty the Wii one is till you go back and play. It's like
That was a screaming line drive.
it's just so weird. I don't know. I can't even play.
Now stepping in for YSU is Miranda Catiglione, the third baseman. And the pitch to her is a little blooper to left field as it drops in there for a single. So now runners on first and second for Youngstown State.
You can download it on.
Off to a good start so far this inning. We already had a solo home run by Sarah Dowd. Now we had two singles after that. So now we have runners on first and second, which means a runner in scoring position. As number 21, Alexandria Gibson steps in to bat for YSU. And the pitch. And she grounds it to the third baseman, and she's thrown out at first. But no need to worry. She advances the runners to second and third. So now we have two runners in scoring position for YSU. As Callie Mikovic is now stepping in for Youngstown State, hoping to drive in these two runs for Youngstown State to bring up the score. And the catcher for Green Bay, Ashley Baker, is now at the talk to the pitcher, Heather Sanderson, for a quick word.
I mean, if you have a Wii, you can
Callie Mikovic steps back in the box.
play. Yeah, they brought baby.
And the pitch. Thrown in there for ball number one. Runners at second and third here in the bottom of the third. And the pitch. Low for ball two. 2-0 the count here in the bottom of the third. Runners at second and third once again. And we only have one out here also. The pitch. Swung on and fouled right back to the catcher
Some Game Boy.
for strike one.
And they look unrecognizable. Like Ribbon Road, it's called. Basically, it was just a generic track with like presents in the background. But now it's like so detailed. It looks like Toy Story with Mario Kart. There's like all these Nintendo toys around this room, and like it just looks awesome.
Counts now 3-1 as that last pitch was outside. And the pitch. And it's fouled behind the backstop for a full count now for Callie Mikovic.
I just like those games better.
The pitch. And it's grounded to the shortstop. And she throws it to third to try to get out the runner for Youngstown State as she slid it back to third safe. So now the bases are now loaded for Youngstown State. Perfect opportunity to drive in some runs here to bring up the score.
Honestly,
Only one out
I get enough
with
people in real life.
with Kayla Haslett now at bat for Youngstown State. She's the pitcher.
I get enough of people.
Let's see if Haslett here could bring in some RBIs for her team. And she bloops it to the third baseman and is now caught for out number 2.
Told you. I'm a Nintendo fan.
All right, runner still low, or base is still loaded here
I just don't really find it.
as Maria Lacatena now steps in for Youngstown State, and she takes strike one. She squares for a bunt. She pulls back the pitch in there for ball number 1. 1-1's the count. 2 outs now. Let's see if Maria could drive in some runs here. Perfect opportunity to bring in some runs here with bases loaded. Let's see if she can hit a gapper. She squares. And the pitch is thrown in there for strike number 2. So 1-2 is the count now in the bottom of the third with 2 out. Bases are loaded. Maria squares the pitch. Change up way outside for ball number 2. 2-2 is the count. And the pitch. High fly ball to the third base side, and it is caught for the third out to end the bottom of the third with 3 runners stranded on base. Good inning, though, by the Penguins. We had a solo home run to get on the board. So we'll be right back for the top of the 4th. We are back now in the top of the 4th inning at the girls YSU softball game. The Penguins by 4 here to start off the top of the 4th. The score is 5-1, Green Bay. Sarah Dow got us on the board last inning with that monstrous solo home run for the bottom of the 3rd to get the Penguins on board. Stepping in now for Green Bay is number 4, Ashley Baker.
Yeah, so are you saying it's dumb? Alright, anyway, I'm really hyped for Black Ops 3 because I hate the advanced warfare shit. I mean, I told you I have it for the week. Like, I had
Baker has a 270 average this season so far for Green Bay. Seems like her season's going well. And we have a little delay here as the umpire is talking to someone behind the backstop. Looks like a roster change or something like that. Not sure exactly what's going on, but we will be back in action here very shortly.
Okay, I see what you mean. But I'm saying, like, yeah, like those games, I remember they were
Baker steps in now as she takes the first pitch and she flies out to the center fielder for out number 1 in the top of the 4th now. Now up for Green Bay is the second baseman, Kelly Hutchison. Hutchison has a 253 average on the season so far. 1 out here in the top of the 4th as the First pitch comes in for strike number 1. 0-1's the count. Hutchison grounded out in the second to end the top of the second. As she fouls back, strike number 2 to the backstop.
And a lot of the party games.
0-2's the count. 1 out here in the top of the 4th.
Or for Call of Duty. Gun game, 1 in the chamber, sharpshooter.
And the pitch. Swung on and missed for strike number 3 for out number 2.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Sticks and stones. Like, I like all that. And they had the perfect
Great pitch by Youngstown State's pitcher, number 1, Caitlin Minnie.
tomahawking people is the
Caitlin Minnie takes over for pitcher in the 4th as she delivers the pitch. And that is low and outside for ball number 1. 2 outs here in the top of the 4th. Nobody on base.
I got good with it.
Minnie delivers. Looked like a little breaking ball to fool the batter, but it was way outside for ball number 2.
Tomahawk, because it sets you down.
Great pitch to go get the hitter to fish for it.
You know.
And pitch number 2 is still way outside again for ball number 3. 3-0's the count. Minnie has to come back with something now, pretty much over the plate if she doesn't want to walk the batter. And it's outside once again for ball number 4. She draws a walk here. Minnie draws a walk here in the top of the 4th. 2 outs here with Haley Fry now up to bat for Green Bay. Moorfield takes off for second, and she'll get in there easy with a steal.
Yeah, dude. Like, just
So Haley Moorfield has herself another steal here today for Green Bay.
is it? I mean, it wasn't over the top.
Fry fouls it back to the left or the third base side for 0-2 now. 0-2's the count. 2 outs. Minnie delivers.
Oh, yeah.
And that's strike number 3 to end the top of the 4th for Youngstown State. Youngstown State still trails by 4 here. The score is now 5-1 for Green Bay. So now Youngstown State gets a chance to bring back some runs in the bottom of the 4th. Let's see if they can drive in some runs and bring up their score. We're back now in the top or the bottom of the 4th for Youngstown State softball as number 22 Hannah Lucas steps in now for Youngstown State. She's the designated hitter with the .231 average on the season, and she bunts straight towards the pitcher for the first pitch, and she is thrown out at first for out number 1 to start the 4th or the bottom of the 4th. Number 5, Katie Smallcombe, comes in now to bat for Youngstown State. She grounded out to second last time.
Watchdogs, yeah, I heard that was bad.
The pitch. And she swings at a high one for strike number 2.
Mostly the ones that don't get really pushed that end up being good.
0-2 is the count with 1 out here in the bottom of the 4th.
Yeah.
And the pitch. And Smallcombe fouls it right back to the backstop for 0-2.
What?
Smallcombe has a 210 average on the season so far. And the pitch. And she lines it down the third base side past the shortstop for a single.
Why do people say that Grand Theft Auto 5 is the best?
So Smallcombe gets herself on base as number 14, Sarah Dowd steps in. Dowd had a solo home run on the bottom of the 3rd to get Youngstown State on the board. Let's see if she can maybe repeat the process or drive in a run here.
What? It's between
And the pitch to Dowd.
Simpson's hit.
In there for strike number 1 on the outside corner.
I mean, there's not a lot. Bully's sweet, though.
And the pitch to Dowd. And she takes a big hack at it and misses for strike number 2. Dowd squares for a bunt. Pulls back. And she lines one up the middle past the shortstop to get herself a single and advance Katie Smallcombe to second. So now we have runners on first and second with 1 out here in the bottom of the 4th with Brittany Morfat up to bat now for Youngstown State. Moffett had a single last time as she takes the first pitch in her at bat for ball number 1. Inside pitch.
Yeah, that would be stupid.
Let's see if Moffett here can drive in some runs for Youngstown State. As she hits a big fly ball to right field, and it is caught for the second out in the bottom of the 4th as she advances the runner from second to third. So now we have runners on the corner now with Dowd on first and Katie Smallcombe on third.
Just for GTA and some
Number 17, Miranda Catiglione steps in for Youngstown State as she takes the first pitch for ball 1. That pitch was outside. 2 outs here in the bottom of the 4th. Youngstown State still trails by 4. Let's see if Miranda could drive in some runs here. On the pitch.
I just like trying to not get caught by
Oh, that pitch was low for ball number 2. 2-0 is the count.
Yeah, but don't some like do you play the missions?
And the pitch. And it is a bouncer to the third baseman, and Miranda Catiglione is thrown out at first base to end the bottom of the 4th. So runners were stranded on first and third that inning. Youngstown State still trails 5-1 as we head to the top of the 5th. We are back now in the top of the 5th as the first pitch is strike number 1 to Caitlin Hummer for Green Bay. Pitch number 2. Wow. Liner straight back up the middle past the pitcher. Minnie was almost hit by that pitch. Screaming line drive. Caitlin Hummer now has herself a single as number 8, Allie Taylor, the first baseman, steps into bat for Green Bay. And Minnie delivers as it's a fly ball to center field as the center fielder just missed the ball and threw it back into the infield with runners at second and third. So Allie Taylor has herself a double here to start her off for the 5th inning. Nobody out here in the bottom of the 5th, or the top of the 5th. Number 22, third baseman Miranda Spanberg is now in for Green Bay. And the first pitch she takes for strike 1. Runners now on second and third for Green Bay with nobody out. This will be a perfect opportunity for them to drive in some more runs. As Minnie delivers for Youngstown State, which is low for ball number 1. 1-1's the count now.
I just remember that game from like a decade ago. Dude, that game was sweet.
Minnie delivers. Wow, nice changeup taken for strike number 2. 1-2 is the count to Miranda Spanberg. Spanberg last inning, or the top of the 3rd, her last time up, she had a 3-run home run on the top of the 3rd, which put her team way ahead of Youngstown State. And Minnie delivers for YSU, and it is low and outside for ball number 2. 2-2 is the count, nobody out. Runners on second and third for Green Bay. Spanberg steps back in. The pitch from Minnie is low and outside again for ball number 3. Full count now for Miranda Spanberg. Minnie has to deliver something good, or she'll draw a walk and load the bases. Nobody out still in the bottom or the top of the 5th. Minnie delivers, and it is fouled back by Spanberg. Still a full count here.
No, I didn't even try because it looks horrible. I liked Banjo too more just because I don't even think I beat Kazooie, but I love Tui so much.
Spanberg steps back in. Minnie from Youngstown State delivers the pitch, and it is ball number 4, low and inside. As the bases are now loaded for Green Bay. Number 2, Abby Brinkmeyer now steps to bat for Green Bay with bases loaded here. Still nobody out in the top of the 5th.
Even Microsoft,
And that pitch was delivered for strike 1. Abby Brinkmeyer struck out last time up, so hopefully for her she could turn herself around. And the pitch from Minnie is a ball for ball number 1 in this at bat. 1-1 is the count. Bases loaded. Nobody out. Top of the 5th. The pitch. It's thrown down the first base, or the third base side, to get back the runner. The runner's safe. Bases are still loaded. 2-1's the count, as the last pitch was low and outside. Minnie delivers, and low and outside again for ball number 3. As Maria Lacatena, the catcher, goes out to the mound to talk to Minnie to calm her down. Seems like she's tense out there. Let's see if she can calm down after this. She is in a stressful situation with bases loaded, nobody out here in the top of the 5th.
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah. It makes itself. I mean, it's not.
Full count now to Brinkmeyer. And she takes that pitch and she fouls it down the third base side. Still a full count now.
Like, dude.
Let's see if Minnie can get herself out of a little situation here as she delivers the next pitch. And she draws a walk, unfortunately. So she walks in a run now for Green Bay. Green Bay is now up 6-1, so Youngstown State trails by 5 here. Minnie's looking a little bit uncomfortable out there, but I'm sure she'll figure out her way to get through the inning without too much damage. As the bases are still loaded here in the top of the 5th. As she delivers the next pitch, which is strike 1 to Alyssa Johnson of Green Bay, who's now batting for Green Bay. Alyssa Johnson had a solo home run in the top of the 2nd inning today. So her day's off to a good start. As she takes pitch number 2 for strike 2. 0-2 is the count. Still nobody out. Next pitch is fouled back to the backstop. And that pitch is grounded to the second baseman as she tags the runner going to second and throws the runner out at first for a double play. Wow, nice play there by Brittany Moffat from Youngstown State. Stellar double play there. 2 outs now in the top of the 5th as Minnie delivers the next pitch in there for strike number 1. That double play also brought in another run for Green Bay, so now the Penguins trail by 6 as the pitch is now hit back to the backstop, foul ball for strike number 2 to Ashley Baker of Green Bay. Baker squares for a bunt. Minnie delivers the pitch, and she grounds it to the first baseman and bobbles the ball. But the second baseman is able to recover the ball and throw the runner out at first. So Youngstown State now ends the top of the 5th with minor damage. Unfortunately, there was 2 runs gained by Green Bay there. But the Youngstown State Penguins got themselves out of a jam here. So now, let's see what they could do when they come back up to bat here in the bottom of the 5th. We are back now in the bottom of the 5th inning. The Youngstown State Penguins trail by 6 here. The score is 7-1 Green Bay. As number 21, Alexandria Gibson of Youngstown State steps into bat. And the first pitch, she lines down to left field, and it is caught by the left fielder for Green Bay, as that's out number 1 for the bottom of the 5th. That was a great hit, screaming line drive. Unfortunately, the left fielder was just there, which was caught by Abby Brinkmeyer from Green Bay. As number 4, Callie Mikovic for Youngstown State steps in to bat.
There's a lot of dialogue too. What?
Mikovic takes strike 1
Oh man. What?
on the pitch. And she tries to bunt down the third base side, but she ends up fouling the pitch back to the backstop for strike number 2. 0-2 is the count with 1 out here in the bottom of the 5th.
I'm not really this.
Heather Sanderson of Green Bay still pitching here in the bottom of the 5th. As Sanderson delivers the next pitch, and it is another solo home run here for Youngstown State. Callie Mikovic has herself a solo home run today as she drives in the second run for YSU over the right field fence as her team congratulates her at home plate. Great hit for Mikovic. Let's see if Youngstown State can turn themselves around before the end of the game. Hopefully we can come back and win. Number 24, Kayla Haslett, the pitcher of Youngstown State, now steps into bat. No runners on. 1 out in the bottom of the 5th here. As Haslett takes the first pitch for strike 1. And the pitch. And she lines it to the third baseman and is caught for out number 2. Wow, that was a screaming line drive. Unfortunately, the third baseman for Green Bay was just standing right there for that line drive from YSU. Didn't have to move too far. Great catch, though, by the third baseman for Green Bay, which is number 22, Miranda Spanberg, who's having a good day today. Maria Lacatena is now at bat for YSU as she fouls a ground ball down the third base side for strike number 2. 2 outs here in the bottom of the 5th. And the pitch. And it is taken in there for ball number 1. 1-2 is the count now to Maria Lacatena. As Lacatena squares for a bunt, pulls back, and a changeup is thrown in there for a ball. That pitch was outside. And the pitch. And Lacatena lines it down the third base side, but it is foul. So the count remains 2-2 here in the bottom of the 5th. 2 outs now. As YSU had a home run, or solo home run by Callie Mikovic. And the pitch is now taken outside for ball number 3 to Lacatena. The count is full now with 2 outs. So let's see what happens here. Either a walk, a hit, or a strikeout. Lacatena squares for a bunt, but pulls back. And she hits it off the inside of the bat to a little dribbler to the shortstop. And the shortstop throws Lacatena out to end the bottom of the 5th. YSU had a solo home run in the bottom of the 5th by Callie Mikovic, YSU still trails though, 7-2, as we end the bottom of the 5th. And now we go to the top of the 6th with Green Bay about to bat.